Hello and welcome to DCG's development update. We are happy to share what the core, the mobile, and the platform teams have been working on over the past 2 weeks. Can you see me, guys? It seems like I'm breaking up.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
Wonderful. So if you have any questions during the update, please post them in the live chat below using a Q or a question prefix, and we'll be answering those questions at the end. So please stick around for the Q&A session. Without further ado, let's start with Sam and the platform team.
Yep.
1 second, and I find my sharing button as well. Here you go.
So the focus of the last 2 weeks was really 2.1. Paul worked on Dash Evo tool. Ivan worked on the JS SDK. I marginally worked on 2.1 release with Lukas and Ivan. In my case, for example, this was my vacation of the year. So, the Dash price went up, so I need to take more vacations, basically. Paul also attended the Token 2049 at Singapore. So how is 2.1 going? We started the release of the rollout to testnet. I think we just have it on a few nodes. We're starting to do testing. We're going to be testing for about a week now, and we'll then release it to mainnet. So that's going well. Lukas?
Yeah, hi, let me start with a pretty short update on TenderDash because TenderDash 1.5.0 had an issue that caused it to fail if you update your platform to this version. But it's already fixed in 1.5.1, so nobody should have any issue with that. The issue was that the base image which we used changed user ID that owns the TenderDash data files, and we didn't spot it during. My work was on RSW, which is on the next slide. So basically at this point we have stabilized that. We had a peer review done. There are, I think, 3 tests that failed on GitHub CI/CD yet, but these are minor items to be fixed. However, we already have started testing that on testnet, so it's right now deployed exactly on one node, and some people from community are already testing that. At this point, we are aware of 2 items. One is get status endpoints, which seems to have some caching issues, and it just returns empty response. In some cases, I already investigated that, should fix it tomorrow. And second is that some metrics, which is minor because it doesn't affect community, just our testing, but we have metrics that should record how much each endpoint takes to execute. So if you send a request, we want to see how much time this request was executed, and it didn't work, but I also already have a fix that needs to be tested locally first and then on testnet. And we are open to any further feedback on this node, and we will, as Sam already mentioned, we will deploy that new RSW on all testnet nodes and see if it's stable and deploy that. Yeah, in terms of RSDAPI on the next slide, I also did some performance tests because we got feedback from people that current DAPI has very bad performance, right? So the scenario was that we had a quorum with one validator down, and I was just using -evo tool to do it from user perspective, connected to the single RSDAPI node that we have set up on testnet without rate limiter, because each DAPI is protected by a rate limiter that allows, I think, 150 requests per minute per IP. But for testing, I just disabled that. And also I increased timeout to 5 minutes, because if we run the test with default timeout of 10 seconds, it fails and it tries to switch to another DAPI server. But we only have one DAPI server, so the test basically didn't work correctly. And why it fails? It fails when in the quorum that is validating blocks, one of the validators is down, and if this node should propose a block, so if it's doing the most important work in the network basically, but it's down, others need to wait for it. And for testnet, it's more or less 30 seconds of delay introduced by this. So the default 10 seconds basically didn't work. Didn't allow us to execute the test. And in terms of results, so we had a list of 10 identities in the -evo wallet, and there is a refresh button, and it was executed in more or less 5 seconds, I think 0.51 something, but it's quite fast and nothing to complain here. And second test that is more interesting, because that's where we had issues with performance, was transfer of state transitions. In this case, it was transfer identity funds. So the test was just transferring some value between two identities. And average response is 4.8 seconds. However, median is 1.5 seconds. So the issue, as you see on the chart on the right, the issue is that when we have hit the validator that is offline, the response time went up to like 34 seconds, right? That's what I already mentioned. But in general, on a well-functioning node, it's more or less 1.5 seconds. So it's very, very fast in my opinion. We just need to ensure that all the validators in the network are up and are functioning correctly, and then the platform works pretty fast on the testnet. And also on mainnet, I expect similar results. I don't remember what will be the delay in terms of validator down. But if all validators are up, I also expect to get like 2 seconds response time in this case. I know that some community members did some tests with JavaScript, and they got also much faster responses. It was like, I remember, 5 or 6 seconds, or maybe 7 for the whole test scenario they executed. So that's pretty much it. And now I think Paul.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I spent the first week of the sprint at Token 2049 in Singapore, which was an amazing experience. I spent pretty much the whole time going to networking events. I had some friends there that are in venture capital, and that's kind of like what they were doing. And I just, it was really interesting. I learned that I learned like the value of networking, just like seeing these people who really like are successful just from having good networks and having these skills of like, meeting people and connecting with people. So that was super interesting. And I got to talk to a lot of people who have been around crypto for like a long time, as well as newer people. And when I brought up like Dash, uh, I was actually surprised at how many people still like know about Dash, because that hasn't been my experience like in everyday life when I'm talking to people and I say, "Oh, I work at Dash," and like they know about crypto, but they haven't heard of Dash. So it was nice to see people who remember Dash, and like most people, their response is like, "Oh, I used to run master nodes and stuff." I actually like a lot of people said that, which was cool. Like I think there's uh, a lot of people in like the general Web3 area have remembered Dash in like a nostalgic sense. So they were excited to hear about it again and hear that we're building some cool stuff. And yeah, it seemed like, I mean, everyone I talked to who I told about what we were building thought it was really cool. So yeah, I felt like we got validation about what we're doing. Um, yeah, that was my main takeaway, really. I also talked to some exchanges and who like delisted us during like the privacy coin crackdown a few years ago and stuff, and tried to open some connections there, but uh, I mean, wasn't super fruitful. Like, the people at the conference aren't the ones that are handling listings, and some of them have minimum requirements for like daily volume and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, that was my first week this sprint, and I'm going to Thailand Blockchain Week next. I guess it's next month. So looking forward to that. Yeah, and then last week, so I just got back from traveling. I had a long weekend, and last week I worked on Dash Evo tool. The first thing I did was the left panel where like you navigate between the screens. I added labels to all the buttons, so it's easier to know what button to click on. That was a highly requested feature, which I guess I kind of overlooked because I'm using it every day, so I know what the buttons are. Um, I added a new feature, so if you can add an existing identity by wallet plus identity index. So if you like created an identity using a Dash Evo tool wallet, um, and then like you delete your database or need to reload some identity for some reason, you can just reload it by the identity index. Somebody wrote in Discord today that they just switched their OS to Linux, and like uh, they wanted to reload their identities and they forgot the identifiers and stuff. So this feature will be super useful for them actually, um, because they can just enter the indexes instead of the identifiers. I'm planning to do a new release like probably this or next week with a lot of these new PRs and stuff. So that we'll have that in the next few days. Similarly, and that also like automatically adds all the keys as well because they can be derived from the wallet. I added, so I'm currently working on a similar feature and for loading identities by identifier, which scans all of the loaded wallets and sees if it can derive keys from them when you load an identity by identifier. So similarly, like it'll automatically add keys. I added the ability to remove wallets, which was requested by a super user who has ton of wallets and it's overwhelming them. What else? I did some fixes as well. There was a bug with creating and topping up identities by QR code. There was a bug where we were showing asset locks as unused when they were already used. And the keyword search like required a new platform version. Yeah, so I mean, if it wasn't working for you before, that'll be fixed. I also made the UI nicer and added better error handling. Yeah, okay, next slide, please.
And we are talking about roadmap before we hit Paul again. After 1.1, we will be going to 2.2. Sorry, 2.1, we will be going to 2.2 as is obvious. So what's in 2.2? Well, stream notifications will be a big thing around 2.2. Basically, you will connect your mobile device or your web portal or anything that you're using can basically say to platform, hey, get me notifications when something is impacting me. And you can get those notifications, and then you can more easily. I mean, right now it does a pull every so often, right? But with stream notifications, you'll get an instant notification. So your phone can actually like say, "Oh, you got a contact request" right then and there. Or within 10-15 seconds. iOS SDK, that will also be in 2.2. The beginnings of it is already in 2.1, but it will probably be finalized in 2.2. Counted nodes and queryable halving attributes, that's also set for 2.2 at the moment. This is actually insanely amazing, but it's hard to explain. So you can do certain queries, for example, like get me types of cars that have where the sum of these cars yeah, I mean, that's one type where the sum of these cars is over 50 or something like that. The real point of this is for apps like Yapper, where you want to have trending topics. So let's imagine that like people use hashtags, like hashtag this is awesome. So you want to know that this is awesome is trending at the moment. So how do you do that? Well, in a decentralized system, it's never been done before, actually, ever. But a few months ago, I thought of a way of how to do it in GroveDB. So this is a big research topic that I'm going to tackle after 2.1 is out, and I am pretty sure I'll be able to do it. Next slide. 2.3, yeah, and in 2.3 we will be having the token marketplace. It will also use these halving. Might use the advancements in the halvings that I have. Not sure about that yet, because if you have those halving, you can also do certain type of operations like leverage, right? You can do margin. Theoretically, it's all in research at the moment. But I do believe that eventually we will be able to do that. I'm not saying we'll have margin for the first version of the token marketplace. Probably we want to just keep it simple, but it might be. Still, it's hard to know how long these things are going to take in advance. Okay, so then there is 2.4 as well. I forgot to put it in, but 2.4 is state sync. And once we get all of these things done, that will be the 2 version. Probably there'll be another 2.5 and 2.6, most likely, or 2.4 will become 2.5 and there'll be a 2.4 in the middle. Some things like that, that's possible. But basically, we will wrap up to version 2, which is really centered around tokens and a lot of advancements for platform and SDKs. Okay, excellent. We have a research topic. Paul's been working on this for a very long time. So Paul, why don't you take it?
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm super excited to kind of announce this for the first time, even though I guess it's a smaller audience here. Probably I'll post about it in the Discord this week. But for the past few months, I've been taking some time to look into and build a proof of concept out about this idea I had, which is basically ZK proofs for platform. It's basically it takes like GroveDB proofs and uses Facebook's Winterfell Stark prover to kind of like give them a ZK wrapper. So basically what a person can do here, it says it on the slide, but basically what you can do is like off chain, if I am talking to somebody on, for example, Telegram, or I'm at the entrance of a club, and there's a bouncer there who I need to prove that like I'm a member of this club, or prove that I have a ticket, which would be like a Dash platform document. I can prove that I own a document in a specific contract without revealing which document it is or my identity. That's the general thing that it does. It allows a person to prove that they own a document in a specific contract without revealing which document or their identity. Yeah, so I have a quick demo. This is kind of this like circuit. Thank you. I'll share my screen. This circuit of like proving document ownership without revealing your identity is one circuit. It's kind of the only one I can think of at the moment, but the system is a general ZK proof system for GroveDB proofs, so it might be able to be expanded to other things. And also use cases like besides just proving you own a ticket or proving club membership is also an area that we need to do more research about. I kind of worked on this sort of secretly, so I don't think anybody else has had much time to think of it. I have a feeling that Sam will probably be able to think of some really cool use cases. But yeah, it's like a super early thing. So I'm gonna do a quick demo. I added a ZK proof slide in the Dash Evo tools screen, ZK proofs here. So what you do is you select your identity you want to prove that owns the document. So in this case, I know it's this one. It starts with ETH. Select a key. The key does not go into the proof circuit. You're gonna sign a challenge on the client side, and then the signed message goes into the ZK proof circuit just for like extra security. We have ZK test. We want to prove we own a document of the document type blob. Okay, let me just get I'm gonna fetch the document ID. I need to provide the document ID. Okay, so owner ID ETH, and here's the ID. So I'm going to copy this, go back, and paste it in, and generate proof. ZK proofs are huge. this circuit takes about 10 seconds to generate the proof, and it's on average is about 3 megabytes. So this is a proof of concept. I think we can definitely optimize it, but that's the current state. So I'll click copy proof, and then this proof you would send over to somebody. So like, or you can generate a QR code or something, and show it at the club entrance or something. And then the verification. So I'll paste it in here. The verification is super fast. It's like 1 second or something, but you can see it's massive. 3 megabytes. Verify proof. And this one is valid, as it should be. Now, if I go back, I'll show the case where it should fail verification. So I'll change the identity, but keep the document the same. So yeah. So normally client side, we will prevent the proof generation from occurring. But for the purpose of testing, I have that check bypassed so that we can, like, on the verification side, see that the verification actually fails. So just wait a second. Copy proof. Verify. And it should say failed. Yeah. So yeah, this is Grove Stark is on my personal GitHub right now, Paul DeLucia. It's a proof of concept. It relies on Stark, on Facebook's Stark Winterfell. It's like a Stark prover, which is also marked as not for production usage. It hasn't been audited, but some projects are using it themselves. For example, Polygon's ZKVM is using it, but they've had, I think it's like slightly modified, and they had their fork audited. So for now, we're calling it a proof of concept. Yeah, I think it's just an interesting thing that we have that we can consider use cases for, and if there's big interest for it, we can, speed up making it more than a proof of concept. And also the name Grove Stark is, I'm not married to it either. I actually don't like it that much, but I guess it's what I'm calling it for now. So yeah, I'll post about it in Discord tomorrow and share some links and stuff. Yeah, thank you.
Paul. Thank you very much.
Very, very cool, Paul.
Thank you.
Shall we continue with mobile?
Sounds good. All right, so on Android, excuse me, we had a issue with our Coinbase transfer feature that was fixed. We're starting a new feature called dual usernames. So this will allow a user to have two usernames in the same instance, I guess, or wallet, basically. It'll be a little bit hidden as it goes. I'll show a demo of this when it's done, but the general idea is to reduce the friction when someone wants to have a contested username. It'll let them allow them to do things on the network while their contested username is being voted on. The Piggy Cards feature was fully implemented. We've got some feedback from the beta users that we've been working on. Hopefully this week, in the next day or so, we'll have everything finished to go to the Play Store. So right now it's a public beta. Anyone can use it. It's just not in the Play Store yet. On iOS, just small UI improvements that carried over a couple sprints, but that was done. Excuse me. And I think I mentioned this last presentation, but there is a new Explore Dash widget that I've made for the website. The first proof of concept, I did that or mentioned that I think in the last presentation. This last sprint was working on an updated UI and some improvements to the search functions, and also in progress, excuse me, is working on adding some security to the data. I can show what this is looking like currently. I think I just need permission. There we go. Just give me a second here. All right. Do you guys see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So this is all in a private repo at the moment until we get security features worked out. But ultimately, the goal is once we have a decent working product, we can get that out publicly, and the community can contribute as well. Still working on some performance improvements, but sorry, 1 second. Is my little window in your way? Can you see the actual list? Let's try that. So there is a difference between online and online only, in the sense that online only, well, it is what it is. It doesn't have any physical locations. There are still some data cleanups that we have to do. So there are some physical merchants that actually do end up showing up, even though it says online only. So that's going to take some time. It's more of a data thing that needs to be cleaned up. Yeah, I mean, it works pretty decent. You can search by zip code as well for nearby merchants. And you can go up to, 100 miles or so. So yeah, that is all I wanted to show. So ultimately, like I said, this is planned to get put on the website and opened up to the community for community members to contribute to. So I can't seem to stop sharing. Actually, I don't know. Can you stop me from sharing, Polish?
I think I can share, and that stops you, probably.
Okay. Oh, here we go. I think I got it. Okay. Yeah, that's it on the mobile side.
All right, let's see the iOS.
Yeah, so most of this stuff is not from me. It was the great advancements of Mr. Pasta. He got balances working, transactions from what he showed me, and I know that you also did performance improvements. I've been back. I mean, on iOS, I probably only did maybe a day and a half in the last 2 weeks, mostly because of my time off. But in that day and a half, I got most of DashPay platform wallet working, probably like a few thousand lines of code. And now you can add an outgoing contact request, add an incoming contact request. Sending and receiving a contact request makes an established contact. I also did the Diffie-Hellman key exchange for encryption and decryption of the various keys. So basically, my next goal there is going to be putting DashPay into the wallet that is kind of exclusively core for now. So then we put the DashPay layer on top with platform, and then it will become the DashPay wallet. So we'll be able to test that and hopefully have that out in the next 2 weeks. With DashPay. When I say have it out, meaning that feature is going to work. I don't mean the DashPay wallet for iOS will be done, but once we have DashPay working, we should have. I mean, the two big things left is getting CoinJoin working properly in the new library, and which has its code already written in Rust, but hasn't been verified by me and Pasta. So, that could take almost no time. It could take a lot of time, and we're not completely sure. We also then have to integrate it with the current system. And then we also need to verify that everything is working. So that's going to still take quite some time. I don't want anybody to think, and I am trying to push this, that I don't want anybody to think that it's going to be very soon. It won't be in October. It won't be in November, most likely. November, there's a chance, but probably not in November. I currently estimate that it will happen in December, but it's not a promise. It's more of an estimation based off of what I've seen and what we have currently working. I expect that the integration with the current system is going to be quite hard. I also expect that the coin join feature won't work perfectly and will require a lot of additional work. But I don't know. But it's better to assume worse than assume the best. Okay, Pasta has a cool demo for you guys today. So Pasta, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, sure. So, like Sam said, some of the main things were like performance improvements, as well as getting balances finally properly exact. So there were a couple of edge cases that weren't exactly cleaned up in Dash SPV, and Hash actually worked with me to help identify those and resolve them. But we have got that nicely merged in. So for the sake of time, I didn't sync this with you guys, but the wallet syncs pretty nicely now. And this wallet balance is actually proper and correct. And we can go into it. And this BIP32 derivation was actually one of the paths that we needed to add to get balances proper. This is an old legacy path that no one really uses and no new wallets use, but obviously if someone has a very old wallet where they did use this derivation, it is important for us to still support it. So that was one of the fixes that Hash helped with. But we're also able to look in and see transactions. So I even sent a transaction about 30 minutes ago, and you can see that we saw it and it affected the balance and everything like that. So yeah, it got balances fully properly working. We're able to see all of the transactions now. Next steps pretty much include more validation and testing around like the entire user flow, making sure that we can send all the transactions that we want. Maybe we can send between wallets and stuff just works nicely. As well as we need to enable mempool support in the actual iOS side of things. That should exist in Dash SPV. But we have not enabled that in the configuration yet. So that is one of the next things to do, and probably there might be some issues there that we'll have to debug and figure out. But thanks a ton to Hash for helping out and helping get all of the balances proper and figure out those edge cases. And yeah, that's about what I have on this demo front. Cool. So we can go ahead and share slides again, and I'll be able to go over some core stuff.
Right away.
Awesome. Okay. So the main thing that's being worked on right now, or the kind of top priority line item right now, is releasing V23. And so RC1 was tagged, and we built RC1. We found a non-determinism in our build process for the Windows build, and right now we are actively debugging that. We've figured out where the what symbols are causing the non-determinism. There's some ordering of some symbols that results in basically changing right? It changes some of the memory locations of functions, and that results in the binaries not being exactly the same. And obviously we want bit for bit deterministic binaries. And so we are working on resolving that right now, and hopefully we'll get that wrapped up today and be able to release RC2 with proper deterministic Windows builds. So otherwise, work on extended addresses is continuing. We are hopeful to have another PR in that series sometime this week. And Konstantin is also working on, he is investigating some solutions to hide and automatically lock dust outputs. This would almost certainly be something that people can opt into. It wouldn't be enabled by default, but it may be nice to allow users an option to say, anything below a certain amount, I don't care about, I don't want to see, and we can just lock and not use. So yeah, we can move on to the next slide. And I forgot to mark one of the slides for the backport status as like viewable again, but some progress was made on backports, and that's, yeah, just forgot to mark that so you can see that spreadsheet view. But yeah, that one. So a solid little chunk of progress on V25 and V24 this past period. I think there was something like 30 backports that got merged in. Yeah, we can go on to the next slide here. And you can see the list of PRs that were merged in. There's maybe 15, 20 PRs, something like that. So a number of refactorings. We did merge in a extended addresses PR in the last 2 weeks, and hopefully in the next 2 weeks we will have another one of those, and some various fixes and improvements and backports. But yeah, that should be a wrap on core, and we can move on to questions.
Right, we have a ton. Let me see. Can you hear me?
Before anything, maybe we
Okay.
should just not take any questions around the price. Like, is the price
Okay.
going to go up, or is the price going to go down?
Yeah, sure.
We have no idea. Obviously,
Right.
I believe that the work that we're doing, and I think the work we're doing is going to raise the price over time. I also believe that Dash is undervalued at the moment, especially when you look at all these meme coins, but that's personal, and that's all I'm going to say on it.
All right. So I'm going to read the questions with a Q or a QA or a question prefix. So for a QA, the roadmap has been updated, and iOS Dash Pay Platform 2.1 and Core V23 have moved from Q3 to Q4. Could you explain why actual development progress doesn't align with the roadmap, and what factors cause these timeline shifts?
I mean, it currently aligns with the development timeline estimates. It didn't for some period of time after we crossed into Q4, and we just needed a little time to get the roadmap updated on the website. It still needs some other updates for the point releases that Sam mentioned on platform, but so far, it should be for the most part up to date.
All right, thank you. See the next question with the Q. Which tools, SDKs, libraries, etc., should I link to when onboarding? Should I link to when onboarding a partner to integrate DashPay username/contacts into a React Native app? A question by Digital Cash Network.
Sure. So we do not currently have a React Native SDK. So if they want to use our JavaScript or iOS SDK, they can. The iOS SDK is not yet available, so they can't use that. I would also not currently use the Java SDK as we're going to be updating it. And I believe that they would spend a lot of time on integration, and then by the time they're done, there'll be a new SDK there as well. So at the moment, I would say it's not ready
Okay.
for React Native. JavaScript, it is ready, and I gave you the link for that. If they want, I'm not sure. Does anybody in this call know if you can use JavaScript and React Native? I don't know.
Yeah, please help us out
Does
there.
does anybody here know? Any dev here? We're not React. There are no React Native devs, I think, here.
No clue.
Yeah. So for people listening, React Native basically uses low-level iOS and low-level Kotlin, or I think Java. I'm not really sure. It uses a low-level library, and on top it adds React, is what I think. I've never used it. That's just my memory, so don't hate me if I'm saying something wrong. But no, if you think it's a priority, we can make a React Native SDK at some point in the future, but it would just mean that, well, other things would be delayed. So we have to find out a priority roadmap, and we have to potentially hire more people, which we can do if the price of Dash stays at these levels.
All right, thank you. There is one with a question prefix, but it is not really intended to us. I just read it out loud. Question yourself, have you asked ChatGPT-5 your question before you asking the DCG team? Okay, if I skip your question, please just, and it is because it is without a Q or a question prefix, please just restate your question with a Q and I would read it out. So the next question in the line is from TL. Are the ZK proofs showing that you own a particular document or just that you own a document of this particular doc type for a data contract?
Yeah, it proves that you own a document of a particular doc type without revealing which document.
For
So
for a data contract.
For a specific document type of a specific data contract.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. So the next question from James Doe. Now with Claude on the DCG team, how long will it take to publish DCG's quarterly financial reports for Q1 to 3, since it's all transparent on the blockchain and AI is so smart?
I'll take that. I mean,
Thank you.
The Claude doesn't really have anything to do with the financials. I did post on, we don't usually talk about financials on this call, but I'll make it really quick.
Thank you.
When I last posted the Q4 financials, I did mention that we ran into too many issues with our current tax provider platform, and we ended up moving to a new one, which has been a challenging transition, but they've been managing to fix everything that we need them to fix, and we're pretty close to getting everything all synced up and put in place. But until that is in place, I can't do the financial statements. It has all of our capital gains and losses and everything in there. So that is currently underway. I've been trying to balance my time between the iOS development, widget development, and the normal day-to-day. So my plan is to move back into that effort once I finish up this widget. And I mean, I'm semi-optimistic. I should hopefully be able to get the financials out up to the third quarter. Hopefully by the end of the month, but I'll be a little bit more are estimated into maybe potentially November, but they will be coming. It's not a Claude thing. It's a mix between a bandwidth issue, my bandwidth, and some of the issues that we've been having with the new provider. So
thank you very much. So next question from TL. If a DAO vote were to favor incorporating private messaging over spending time slash resources on Dash spend, so Dash focuses on P2P uses over selling, would this be received well or poorly?
sorry, I'm just rereading it.
Yeah, I'll start with that, but I won't finish it. How about I say a few words and then
Please.
then Brian, you continue. Does that work?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. For me at least, if the DAO ever votes in a certain way, even if DCG does not agree with it, if it's legal for us to do, we will attempt to do it. If it's possible and legal, has been our stance on things for a while.
Yeah, and I second that. I mean, I guess as I read this a third or fourth time, I guess the first thing is it should be made clear that from a Dash spend perspective, as we're coming out of the beta for Android anyways, there isn't going to be that much more efforts associated to Dash spend other than for getting Piggy cards onto iOS. And a decent amount of that development has already been done. It just needs to be kind of wrapped up based on all the most recent improvements that we made on the Android platform. So I don't really see Dash spend as being too much of a conflict in priority. There are some other partners that Joel and I both have, talked about potentially integrating into Dash spend, so we have more partners there. But I wouldn't currently put them as the top priority. As far as private messaging itself and P2P, I mean, that's more than just mobile. There would obviously be efforts needed across the other teams. So I can't really fully answer that from a mobile perspective. But yeah, to Sam's point, I mean, if there was a strong desire from the network to do a certain feature, then yeah, I mean, as long as there's no legal or other security related issues, then yeah, we move forward with it.
Yeah, I also want to say that often proposals like this, you have to also kind of say like where you would insert it into the roadmap, right? So like, oh, you should do this at this time before these features, because if it's just open-ended, it's a little bit confusing. Or you can leave it open-ended and say like, DCG should do this within the next 6 months if you make a proposal like that, or within the next year, or between these features, but just try to make it so if we don't do it right away, we're not criticized for not doing it right away. So we get like very good guidance from the network on what they want.
Yeah, and one more point. I mean, obviously, this is just a chat forum, so you can't be that verbose. But the requirements would have to be very specific, so it's very, very clear what needs to be or what's being implemented.
Yeah. Oh, there was one question before that I mean, it was like how is the extra 150K a month funding helping with development? I think I answered that a little bit before, but I want to talk a little bit about our hiring strategy and how we're moving forward. So right now we're looking for an iOS developer. We've had multiple interviews this week. I'm having more interviews later in the week. This is an active search, right? The idea is they will take over iOS back, like the thing that me and Pasta are doing, they'll basically take it over. So I won't be bothered by with fixes, right? But finding such a person is not easy. And you know, I'm not 100% sure we'll find somebody in the next 2 weeks, but I think we'll find somebody in the next month. You know, even if we get 100 or 200 applicants, you know, a lot of applicants are not good. So it takes some time to find somebody who I believe is actually going to be able to do the work.
Mhm.
And then after that, we will, I mean, if the dash price, you know, stays around the current levels or even hopefully goes up, we will be able to hire more individuals. We have a few areas where extra people would be able to help. But we also want to grow our reserve before we do that. So we'll probably like maybe start that. It really depends on where the dash price is and if we've already replenished our reserves.
All right.
But I'm very excited about it. It's going to be nice to get new blood. I also want to say that Ivan is currently back in the project. I think people know that, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Do you plan, question from top 10 facts. Do you plan to upgrade Dash's privacy tag? For example, integrate ZK proofs, ZK proofs, stealth addresses, or other protocol level privacy, or keep privacy as an opt-in masternode mixing service? And Digital Cash Network answers that we already have stealth addresses, confidential transactions, development has begun.
I would like to add that. Oh, yeah. I would like to add here that it's actually, you know, it's outside of DCG currently, confidential transaction development. So, you know, it's a great initiative by Digital Cash Network to push that development. And yep, I believe that we'll make, I mean, I hope that moves forward and is prosperous.
Yeah, thank you. What
In
can,
terms of, well, I just want to add one more thing, actually.
Please.
In terms of DCG development capacity, we have a full roadmap of things to do for the next year. So unless we hire a lot of extra people, we can't really do anything outside our roadmap unless there's a really strong demand for it from the network, or it really makes sense. Like we did a feature and wow, it's really catching on and everybody loves it. Okay, well, you know, we'll follow that feature, right? We'll follow and make and embellish that feature so people use it more. I'm thinking a lot about the token marketplace that will be coming in 2.3, where we will be basically able to buy and sell tokens on that are native to the Dash network directly in a browser, right? I think that is actually going to be really cool because as we saw the response times today, we saw response times of 1.5 seconds. Well, even though that's on testnet, like a 2.3 second response time on a truly decentralized network for trading is actually really good. So, you know, it's only Dash tokens at the beginning, but maybe if that catches on and people really like that feature, we might do extra work around it, like maybe lending, margin trading, and a lot of other DeFi capabilities. But to be seen.
Bass asks, what can the community do to make the work of the developers easier? To make the work of the developers easier.
I would say be understanding. We are humans too. And you know, we do our best. Not everybody has always done their best, and some people got fired. But the people that are currently in DCG, they've stuck it out, in really tough times where they were paid less, and just understand that a lot of people really love this project, and we're not trying to hurt the project like some people believe. We're just really doing our best to make Dash grow.
Let's see. Next question with a Q. Vonken asks, previously there were links to the mobile sprint review recordings. Recently, I haven't seen them on Discord. Is it possible to publish them?
Yes, that's my bad. Actually, we had some changes in the mobile team, and I didn't pass along that knowledge. So yeah, we'll get the latest. We are still recording them. We just haven't posted them. So I'll get those links up for the ones that we missed.
Thank you. All right, I see no further questions.
Well, there's one. Would Sam also be responsible for hiring a CEO for DCG?
Okay.
If we were to hire a CEO for DCG, it would come on the behest of the network making a vote to hire a CEO. I believe that most of Masternode's owners that I've heard from, well, it's divided, but many feel that DCG should only be a development outfit, should not go into marketing, should not go into business development, and should not have a CEO representing all of Dash, and it should really be distributed. Some people think that there should be a CEO. At the moment, the current status quo is that there's no CEO, and I really don't want to upset all the people that believe there should be one, that there shouldn't be one. So if you do believe there should be one, make a proposal for it, and we will look for somebody. I don't mind, I really, really don't mind. What I would mind is, people expecting us to hire a CEO for almost no money. CEO salaries often range in the 400K plus per year, and that would mean less development. So just so people are aware, it's not well, yeah, it's expensive generally, unless somebody is doing it that's for less money, that really believes in the project. But very often there is an ulterior motive. So it's hard to find a unicorn in this case.
All right. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching and giving us feedback. Thanks for all the great questions. And see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.